So this camera stand might be one of the most unique products that I've come across so far, but it might be priced out of actually being useful. What's up everybody, Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews here, and today we're diving into the StandPLUS PRO from Edelkrone. It's a serious upgrade for anyone that's sick of the hassle of tripods, but is it really worth the price? Let's check it out. So the StandPLUS is a studio stand designed to quickly move between different shots. Think of it like a tripod, but on steroids. And as a quick disclaimer, I did purchase this with my own money. This is not a partnership with Edelkrone. In the box, you get the stand itself with its sleek aluminum build, a 1/4-inch 20-screw mount, and an Allen wrench to adjust the friction hinges. No frills here with anything extra, but it's solidly packed to protect the product. The StandPLUS V3 Pro comes in at 4.5 kilograms or 9.9 pounds and folds down for portability, making it easier to store than traditional tripods. Its height ranges from 22 inches up to 60.6 inches of total camera height, and it has a max load capacity of 2.7 kilograms or 6 pounds. The stand features a nearly all metal construction which feels sturdy and durable and not really a ton of plastic on it. The friction hinges are adjustable, and with the included Allen wrench, you can fine-tune the resistance in case you have heavier loads on top. For accessories, you can also grab the motion control head or camera mount for even more flexibility, and if you get the Pro version like I have versus the V3, then you can put one of Edelkrone's smaller sliders on it as well, although make sure you tighten those hinges with the Allen wrench well before doing this, as it can fall even whenever I put my teleprompter on it. Now the point of a product like this is if you're always on the move, especially when setting up different shots quickly. The StandPLUS V3 Pro is a huge time saver. There's no more wrestling with tripods, and it's perfect for photographers and videographers or anyone who just quickly needs to adjust their setup between shots. Now me, being in a studio environment where I'm constantly filming different angles of products, that's one of the reasons that I love it so much, is because I don't have the space to have multiple different cameras set up, so I just have to move a camera quickly back and forth, and I need the camera to be still, so this is a very quick way to do that. And then if you're traveling with your gear, it also folds down very compactly to fit into a bag or case, but depending on the terrain that you're on, then it can really matter on how you actually use it, and I'll explain through my pro and con section. Okay, so now I want to show you a quick actual setup example with the difference between the Edelkrone StandPLUS Pro and then also just a normal tripod. So we'll start off with a normal tripod. Normally flare your legs out. I would adjust the height a little bit on this. This is an easier tripod to use because it has these latches here versus the ones where you're having to actually unscrew the legs and straighten them out. There we go. Then we'd set it up and we'd have our camera put on there. All right, so not bad, right? So probably takes about 10-15 seconds to do it total, so not bad. Now let's take a look at the Edelkrone one, which typically I would start out by just putting the camera on it first. And the way that you do it is you pull this out and then you set your height. So not a ton faster, right? It is faster, it is more efficient, but here's where the real kicker is. You can hear it kind of scraping on the floor there. If I need to move it around, let's say I'm gonna be reviewing this soon, spoiler alert, this is a Zhiyun gimbal here. If I need to move it around and get different shots, here's one shot where I can get it from right here, or I can get a little bit closer just like that. Or if I wanna get kind of a down low shot like this, you can bend it down and get kind of a shot looking up like this. And obviously these are not professional studio movements. I'm just trying to show examples of how versatile and easy it is to move because of those friction hinges. And then when you want to set it up, you actually just leave your camera on top of it, fold it down, and then pull this back out. And look, now it's completely stored and ready to set back up. So now let's do, sorry for all the noises here. Now, if we were to do this with this tripod, here we are with one shot like this. And then if I didn't have this right here and I really wanted to get like a higher one or move it around, then you're having to undo all the legs, kind of press it down a little bit, get them the right height, and you're trying to make sure that it's level while you're doing it. And then if it's not, then you're trying to like adjust the legs on the fly. So you can see where over time it saves a lot of time and effort, but is it actually worth the cost of this thing? That's where it's kind of up to you to be sure. And then for storing this, as you can see, then you're unlatching all the legs just to put this thing away and put it away for storage. There you go, slide everything back in. And again, this is not the twist ones, which take even longer. And now you're ready for storage. So, and really, if you look at it, I mean, it doesn't take up that much different of space than a normal tripod. So now starting off with the pros section, one of my favorite things is how easily it folds up. I'm not really going to travel with this, even though you can, because it folds up so neatly, but being able to store it is really the big thing. You don't have these tripods leaning against a wall, and you can just set it on a shelf whenever it's completely folded up. This is really handy for creators like myself when I'm constantly changing the height of my tripods, where I'm not having to twist knobs and secure latches whenever I'm changing the height of my cameras. And it's surprisingly sturdy, despite looking like it might not be, because the whole thing looks like it could topple over at any second, but it has a very wide and heavy base, and I'm actually really surprised at how sturdy it holds the camera. Although I will say that if you're in a house like mine where the floor kind of moves as you walk, it is going to be a lot more prone to actually moving and wobbling than a traditional tripod, so that's definitely a knock on it. And then I really like the friction hinges because it allows you to make very precise adjustments very quickly. And if you're using this in a studio, it's going to save you a ton of time. It does have a wide triangle base that doesn't really take up that much different of room than a normal tripod, so the space savings is really for storage specifically. And then back on the all metal frame, it does give it a nice premium feel, which is great, but I did notice that when I press my foot on the center to start the unfolding process that it can flex quite easily, so make sure to just rest your knee against the hinge for use and not put your foot on the middle part. Now before we dive into the cons, let me know in the comments below, does portability actually matter to you when choosing gear like this? Now diving into what I don't like about it, unfortunately the wheels are completely terrible. They remind me of those old ball computer mice back in the 90s, and they do not glide well, which makes it really hard to move the stand smoothly. You just kind of drag them along the floor. Each wheel is made from what seems to be a little ball of plastic, and not only do they get zero traction on smooth floors, they also scratch very easily, which makes it even more difficult for them to roll inside of their sockets. The next downside is the price. Even with the 20% off sale that I got it on, it's still tough to justify unless you're in a professional setting where time savings can really make up the difference. While it can save you up to 15 to 20 seconds for setup, it would take many uses to really make up for this difference. But as far as the price right now, at full price, you can get the Pro version like mine for $590, and then you can get the V3 for $490. And like I said, even with 20% off, that's pretty steep for what you're actually purchasing. But when it comes to actually recommending it, overall, I do think that it can be a great option for professional studios or for content creators with the budget for it. But for most people, I would say that it's really hard to justify the cost. I do absolutely love the StandPLUS for what it does. I think it's the perfect addition for a studio setup, saving you a lot of time and hassle, but it is massively overpriced for what you're getting, and I cannot wait to see competitors come out with other versions of it, especially when you're comparing it to a traditional tripod, which is quite a bit cheaper. So I can't call it a must-have, but I do say that if you do end up purchasing it and you have the money to do so, you will absolutely get the value of it over time, and it's completely worth it. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Is the StandPLUS by Edelkrone overpriced? Let me know in a comment. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and joining the Freaky Tech family and hitting that like button so it helps the channel grow. But thank you so much for spending some of your day with me. Again, I'm Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews. I'll see you next time.